It's the Weather Xtreme video. This is the morning edition for Wednesday, the 5th of October. I'm James Spann. Alabama's long dry spell continues. The drought worsens. Hurricane Matthew is the big story. Increasing evidence this thing does a loop off the Florida coast this weekend and next week. Wow. Let's go in there and check things out. Big cold trough in the western states. Mountain snow, it's cold. And around here, we are in a very dry air mass, a familiar story. Starting off the day, mostly in the 60s, Gadsden 62, Fort Payne 64, Birmingham and Tuscaloosa 70. Well up in the 80s again today, and like yesterday, some spots may be touching 90. But look at the air back in the western states, 20s, 30s. Yeah, it's cold out there. And the question is, can that be pulled in here? And the amount of cooling we see in about 5 days all depends on Matthew. This idea of a loop really might change our forecast as well, as you'll see. There's the watch warning map. A lot of frost and freeze warnings. Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, Nebraska. And in Florida, we note a hurricane warning is currently in effect from north of Golden Beach to Sebastian Inlet. And then north of there, a hurricane watch up to the Georgia state line, Fernandina Beach and Jacksonville. In terms of convection, a marginal severe weather risk today for St. Louis, Kansas City, and Wichita. Tomorrow, chance of severe weather basically in the same zone, kind of in that battleground between the cold air in the west and the warm air we have. And on day 3, which is Friday, no organized severe weather expected. Rain for the next 7 days. Come on, we can't buy a drop. I believe this is day 17 consecutive days, no rain in Birmingham. The streak's going to continue at least for 7 days and probably 10 and maybe longer than that. So, you know the deal. Be very careful with any outdoor burning. Conserve water. We'll get to November. That's when the rain picks back up. This is the driest month of the year. Rain from the hurricane's not going to help us. And you see the really big numbers are offshore. And again, I think they're going to have to adjust this on a new package that should be released about the time you watch this and reduce the amount of rain for the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, if indeed this thing does the loop, which it's beginning to look like it just might do. So here we go in the tropics. First off, there's a wave approaching the Windward Islands. You always got to watch those low-latitude systems. No development expected in the short term. Nicole is a tropical storm that's not close to land. Top winds are 50 miles an hour, and that thing's just going to sit out there and do nothing for 5 days. Remain a tropical storm probably, but no threat to land. Matthew, as you might expect, with the interaction with land, has weakened a bit. It's still a very potent hurricane. Top winds now 125 miles per hour, moving north at 10. The pressure is up to 962 millibars. So here we go. This is the model set at 06Z. An increasing number of the tropical models are doing the loop east of Florida. They turn it hard right off the coast of Georgia, bend it southward, and then bend it back to the west. Here's a look at the GFS ensemble guidance. And again, an increasing number of members are doing the same thing. Now, this is great news for our friends in New England, at Cape Cod and Boston. But certainly it makes you, wonder, goodness, if you're in Florida, could this thing strike at us twice? But obviously, this could change again. There's very good skill out to 5 days. Beyond 5 days, not really. And that's why we don't like to dabble in that in tropical weather. Thought I'd show you what the individual deterministic runs look like, the latest guidance in hand here. This is the GFS Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. This thing is right on the coast. And again, I'm telling you, this is a very tough call here. We'll look at the European. It's pretty darn similar. It's just offshore or very close to the coast. And obviously, the closer to the coast, the greater the chance of damage on the coast and impact. But just a minor deviation will make a huge difference. Intensity guidance. This thing will stay a pretty significant hurricane for a while. Category 3 out to 72, maybe 84 hours, maybe even longer. Here's the official track from the Hurricane Center. They maintain it at Category 3 strength, just east of West Palm Beach, late tomorrow night. Of course, cuts out across the Bahamas today. Late Friday night, they've got it just east of Jacksonville, and you can see now they're buying into the recurve and maybe loop solution, which greatly reduces any threat to New England. And again, you get into these analogs, and goodness, Floyd sideswiped Florida with little damage and little impact. This is close to that, but at any deviation to the left, there could be very big problems on the immediate coast. I don't think the inland impacts will be all that bad, places like Orlando. Keep in mind the west side is the good side of a hurricane. Not that there's a really good side, but relatively speaking, it's the good side. The bad side is the east side, the offshore side in this case. But you just got to be ready for assuming that this thing might be on the coast or maybe inland a smidgen, and if that's the case, everybody's got to be prepared for that. Best possible case, it stays just offshore. You don't get much of anything. But you've got, as a course of least regret, prepare for the worst-case scenario here. So let's look at the GFS. This is the 06E run, valid at 1 o'clock today. Nice cold trough in the west. And again, for us, same thing, just dry air. Mostly sunny, and we'll be well up in the 80s today, probably 86 to 89. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Matthew coming through the Bahamas, just east of Miami. Again, we're dry, mid-80s, mid to upper 80s. I don't think we see much change tomorrow. This is Friday, mid-80s are likely, and Friday at 2 p. Eastern Time, 1 p. Central. And that thing is just sitting on the coast almost, below Daytona Beach. This is Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern. And you can see it's beginning to move a little farther away from the coast off southeast of Savannah. And again, if this loop thing develops, we're not going to get this cool air we promised. There's no promise in weather, but we forecast much cooler air. That's assuming this was going to move up toward New England and tap the Canadian air, but this loop scenario is not going to do that. So Saturday, we could still see mid-80s, and then Sunday, you can see it just drifts to the east. No northward motion at all. So instead of this good, strong northerly flow on Sunday, it'll be more of a northeasterly flow. We'll still be cooler. Highs will drop in the 70s, but at one point we saw guidance coming in at 69. Monday, Matthew moving southeast, doing the loop. We're dry. And again, I think we do see 40s Monday morning, but again, the idea of the upper 30s for the colder pockets, that's probably off the board. Tuesday, here it comes on the attack again, headed back over towards South Florida. We're dry, and this is a week from today, Wednesday the 12th. No big troughs, so again, we're not going to see any big cold air coming in here, but the weather should be comfortable. Highs probably upper 70s to near 80 and lows in the 50s. And again, Matthew is making a run back on the south part of the Florida Atlantic coast again. Wow. Wouldn't this be an unbelievable situation if they did see this thing coming inland on Friday and produce a lot of damage and problems, and then it comes right back at them next week? This is the end of the forecast period. The end of next week, Friday the 14th, troughing north of us, big upper high to the west, and the GFS suggests it'll be offshore. But look, this is 10 days. This is nothing but voodoo out here. So Matthew might be a storm that will be talked about for a long time if this thing does a loop and makes a second run at Florida. Rain for the next 10 days, how about nothing? That's just not encouraging. And again, you can see the loop pattern with Matthew out there in the Atlantic. Look at the numbers, and again, they've come up because instead of, Matthew moving north, getting latitude and pulling down the Canadian air, now it's doing the loop, and it's not going to do that. The high will drop to 80 on Sunday. And again, I think many spots will be in the 70s, but we'll have to raise the numbers up because of the change in the track of Matthew. Weather is always interesting. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes in the blog. The next video here by 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can catch us this evening on the live stream of the television side. ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.